Mario's video game endeavors can get pretty crazy, having him in many unique locations with unique gimmicks and interesting story, but no Mario games do it like the 3D ones. Adding a 3D environment to a game allows the creators to give it so much more life and personality. From the tropical island of Isle Delfino to the moon, and even the center of the universe, it's rare for a 3D Mario game to disappoint players with a lack of unique surroundings to see and explore. But of course, not every game can be great, and there will always be bad games mixed in there, and the public opinion is that Super Mario 3D Land for the 3DS is not just the worst 3D Mario game, but also straight up a bad game. But what if I told you that all those people are wrong? That they just need to take a step back and see exactly what they were looking at? In this video, I'll be showing you why Super Mario 3D Land is a good game. Before we defend this game, we need to understand why people dislike it so much. One of the biggest complaints with this game is how linear it is. This is the 5th entry in the 3D Mario series, coming after Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. The issue with this is that all of those games were open world or have open world elements to them. They also all had hub worlds and a lot more depth in their stories. The linearity of this game is such a big complaint for people because it's so different from what we got before it. People were naturally expecting the 5th game in the 3D series to follow the same path as those before it, but whether it was a lack of processing power on the 3DS or an intentional decision by the creators, 3D Land feels like a 2D game trapped in a 3D game's body. One of the other big critiques that is undeniably a huge flaw in this game is a giant lack of story. It follows the same basic trope that we have seen time and time again. Bowser takes Peach, goes into a lava-filled world, the end. No matter what way you turn it, the story sucks. One thing that wasn't necessarily a complaint, but definitely made it stand out amongst its peers was the lack of a hub world. Or any world for that matter. Yeah, in this game, you go level to level on a literal line. It's super bland and boring and really brings you out of the game, because every time you beat a level, you're just reminded that you're on a timeline trying to get to the end. Another disappointment many had with this game was the lack of anything new, like at all. This game has no unique enemies, no unique power-ups, and no unique environments. This game's whole gimmick is the return of the Tanuki Leaf, but now in a 3D environment. Those were the biggest complaints that this game got upon release, but now it's been over a decade since this game came out, and it's much easier to look back and see what it did right. To start, this game is nowhere near short on content. This game has 8 fully fleshed out worlds, plus a small 9th world that unlocks after the final boss. But then, you beat the game and 8 more worlds are shown to you that are remixed, harder, and more interesting versions of the first worlds that expand on their gimmicks and ideas in fun ways. This game is also perfect for 2D platforming gamers who wanted more challenge, as it took a 2D game playstyle and environment and gave it more depth. This adds more difficulty because of the newfound potential while in a more expansive environment, and also the depth perception's a bitch in this game. But nonetheless, it added a whole new level of hard to the platforming genre, and when I say hard, I mean hard. Some of these levels are brutal. Going back to the game's gimmick being the Tanuki Leaf, it's actually surprisingly fun to mess around with its hovering capabilities in a 2D environment, and requires a lot more skill now to use considering all of the new possibilities. This game also has pretty good level replayability, as each stage has 3 hidden star coins throughout the level, and there are certain milestones in the game that require specific amounts of star coins to proceed. This system encourages exploration and steering off the designed linear path to scrape every surface of levels in order to find all 3 star coins in each one. We all know that this game did not take many creative liberties, but that does not mean that the levels are bad. In fact, the levels are quite fun. All of these levels feel different and unique, and most have a special gimmick as well. Although the lack of an overworld is disappointing, it actually helps out the game substantially. Because there's no direct themes for worlds, levels can be whatever they want. They don't have to stick with a strict dress code. Not all levels in World 7 have to be sky themed. There can be underwater levels, and levels in a factory, levels in a desert, etc. Although this pretty much kills any hope of a consistency in this game, it opens up so many more doors than it closes. One place where this game does take creative liberty is the final boss. It starts by Mario going up to the doors of a castle while it storms outside. Next, we get a super unique battle as you never actually fight Bowser. Your goal is to get to the end of a tough platforming section while avoiding Bowser's deadly attacks. This is a cool change of pace as you are practically defenseless against Bowser's attacks because attacking him is not an option. Once you make it to the button and send Bowser into the lava below, you move forward to save the princess. Then Bowser jumps back from the lava to finish the job. This time more powerful and deadly. The platforming is harder and his attacks are faster. You ended off with an intense chase scene and hit the button to finally defeat him. This battle is clearly the inspiration for the newer Super Mario 3D World, and that just shows how good of an idea it was. So sure, when compared to the 3D Mario games that came before, 3D Land looks like an out-of-place, boring, and uninspired game. When you take a step back and learn that it is its own game, and you learn not to compare it to other titles, Mario 3D Land is an amazing game.